to Evergreen. I mentioned Hank and Mrs. Alderfer earlier. Outstanding family in the Evergreen area, long-time residents, great people. Well, Hank was a bus driver. I don't know just what routes he had been on in earlier years. Don't know just when he was put on the Indian Hills route. But I had been aware that the Indian Hills route that brought junior high students to our junior high there in Evergreen was a route that the kids misbehaved a lot. That, was being handled by the bus driver and by the director of transportation, and I thought that involved, but as it kept being a problem, the county, I don't know just how that was done, whether it was through Miss Clapp or otherwise, but I became aware I was expected to take a hand in it. Well, they assigned Mr. Alderfer to that route because there was trouble, and they felt that he was the man that could handle that situation, and he did make, I think, a great improvement. But he was very strict, and he expected kids to behave the way they were supposed to behave, and he got a little temper, I guess, because on one occasion he apparently said to them, "You're acting like a bunch of jackasses." Oh man, some mother that took offense at that, I assume a mother, might have been a father, But somebody in the community picked up on that and fanned it and made it a major issue that this man had called their precious children jackasses. Got clear out of hand. So finally the bus supervisor said, I guess the thing we've got to do is go down to the Parmalee school, which was the elementary school in the Indian Hills community, hold a meeting with the parents and see if we can talk some sense to them. Well, we had the meeting all right, and he was trying to say, I was trying to say that for safety reasons, you want the children to behave, and Mr. Alderfer maybe shouldn't have used the term he did, and maybe one of the bad things about it was Hank wasn't apologetic about using it. He certainly didn't deny using it, and he certainly seemed to feel it fit. He wasn't at the meeting. But he wasn't apologetic in speaking with the bus supervisor or with me about it, that's the way they were acting, and he called it the way he saw it. So anyway, the supervisor and I have, we've got a house full. We've got a big bunch of people there, and they're not happy. And as we try to stress that this is the best bus driver we have, it's to your advantage for the safety of the children. To have this bus driver, no way, they weren't having it. The hostility was, kind of got directed at the supervisor and me. If you're not going to listen to us and get that awful man off of the bus that hauls our children. So, finally it got down to, okay. So the bus supervisor said, I will assign another driver, but if there's more problems, it cannot be allowed to have bad misbehavior going on. It could end up having an accident and kids being killed. If there's going to be more problems, they've got to be dealt with. Well, foolish me. And I don't know if I did a good thing or a bad thing. This one was a tough one for me, and I guess I might have been shooting from the hip a little. I said, well, bus riding is not a right. It is a privilege. There's nothing that I know of in the law that says that a school district has to transport any child to school. So if your child gets in trouble with this new bus driver, and he's done his thing, he's done his warnings and so on, and he feels it's time to get me involved, I'm going to suspend, probably for a couple of days to start with. If there's a repeat, extend it a little, and if there's a third time, your kid's not going to be riding the bus. Bus riding is not a privilege. It is a privilege, not a right. It's about the only time my name ever got mentioned in a Denver newspaper, because I guess it was a story, well, I know it was, that principal at Evergreen Junior High says bus riding is a privilege, not a right. Well, of course, you can guess what happened. The bus supervisor put as good a man as he could, I guess, that he had on there. It wasn't very long. You've had the first suspension, and the second suspension, and then the third one, and you're not riding for at least, I don't know, a week or so. And I can remember one parent coming in and just begging me, you can't do that. I can't, you know, I can bring him in the morning, but I can't get there to pick him up in the afternoon. I said, well, I'm very sorry, and yes, I will stay right here, and your son can stay out here in the outer office and wait with me until you get here. I'll do that for you. But he's not going to ride the bus until his time is up, because it's got to get under control. We can't be having an accident, get somebody killed because kids are being crazy on the bus. Well, that one worked out all right. Then it wasn't very long that we had, I think it was 2 brothers, might have been 3, that they were past the first, the second, and the third. Oh my goodness, that mother was, oh, man, she was angry. And I don't remember just how we worked out some compromises there, but probably something of the same nature. Or maybe it was that finally a kind, decent, helpful human being in the Indian Hills community decided that they would just transport those kids back and forth for that period of time. But I do know that for the following year, when Mr. Frost had left us and Mr. Finch was the assistant principal and he started to get into it with that particular family, I said, let me handle it. You don't want to get into an argument with them. And there's a whole other story about that I'll probably get to at some other time. It's absolutely too far. Indian Hills to Evergreen Junior is, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 miles. Mountain roads, curvy roads, too far for a child to be walking, too dangerous. In the winter, too cold. Really a no-win situation. But I will say that after those 2 or 3 cases of people having to make hard arrangements to get their kids to school, the bus situation settled down. I didn't hear any more about it. So I guess the war was waged, and if peace wasn't established, at least a truce came to pass.